title against Tony Thornton, also from America. Tony Thornton already in the ring. The punching postman, 35 years of age, but you can hear the crowd, the anticipation amongst this capacity crowd, the buzz running through them as Roy Jones prepares to enter the ring. Such a popular, explosive fighter, and Gary Mason watching this build-up with me. We're really looking forward to this, aren't we, Gary? It could be quite a fight.
It's a sort of like everybody's looking forward to seeing Jones because he is spectacular, because he's exciting, and it is a hometown appearance for him. It's like, here's your champion hometown, and he's going to go out and he's going to want to perform, he's going to want to impress. And he would have heard about Nigel Benn, and he'd want to give a message to Nigel Benn from here.
But of course, Nigel is very quick to pay tribute, and he does say that this is the best super middleweight in the world.
Yes. But he still wants to fight him, though.
Yes.
You know? So he's going to want to say to Nigel, well, you may think that you're saying I'm the best, you want to fight me, but here's an example of how I can perform.
Roy Jones, of course, 26 years of age. I mean, he's got this incredible record, 29 fights, 29 victories, and 25 KOs. He's got a 9-year advantage over Thornton, who's 35. So I guess you'd have to say that everything is going with Roy Jones here.
Everything barring experience. Thornton, because of his age and the number of his fights, you could say he has more fighting experience. So if he can call on that experience, he may well be able to outfox.
Yeah, well, Jones enjoying his moment in the ring. Tony Thornton, of course, we knew him. He fought Chris Eubank back in '92 up in Glasgow.
Yes, and he had a good fight with Chris Eubank. He was apparently very close, and Chris Eubank is very awkward to fight.
As you say, very experienced. But how do you see this fight going, Gary?
I see it going to a similar way to the Naz Robinson fight. Jones will then, first of all, confuse him, hurt him, and then break his heart.
So you think Jones is without doubt the winner?
Yeah. I don't know about without doubt, but I think Jones is going to win it.
We shall see. We're very nearly ready to start. Let's now join our MC.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Civic Center here in Pensacola, Florida, where tonight Square Ring Incorporated, along with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser, this Bud's for you, present 12 rounds of boxing for the Super Middleweight Championship of the World. This bout is sanctioned by the International Boxing Federation, President Robert W. Lee, and the Florida State Boxing Commission, Chairman Dr. Jack Gugino, Vice Chairman Alvin Goodman, who will also supervise at ringside for the IBF, Commissioners Terry James, Eric Riley, and Alito Waldman, Executive Director Don Hazelton. The 3 judges scoring this bout on a 10-point must system will be Dave McCullough, Gary Merritt, and Bill Ray. And when the bell rings, the 3rd man in the ring in charge of the action, Brian Gary. Now at this time, let's meet the fighters. Introducing first, in the blue corner, wearing red trimmed with gold and weighing 165 3/4 pounds. He comes into this ring tonight as a veteran of 44 professional bouts and has compiled a record of 37 victories against 6 defeats with 1 draw. 26 of those victories were over early by knockouts. Ladies and gentlemen, from Glassboro, New Jersey, introducing the challenger and #1 ranked super middleweight contender in the world, the punch-in postman, Tony Thornton. And his opponent across the ring in the red corner, wearing aqua and weighing in at 167.5 pounds. In 1988, he was voted the Olympic Games most outstanding boxer. He captured the silver medal. And since turning professional, he has 2 world title belts and a perfect record of 29-0. His punching power has earned him 25 knockouts, 15 KOs in 3 rounds or less, 6 KOs in the very first round, and he is considered by many to be, pound for pound, the best fighter in the world today. Ladies and gentlemen, from Pensacola, Florida, presenting the undefeated super middleweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
avoid the use of your head as a weapon. No rabbit punches, kidney blows, or low blows. If you score a knockdown, go to the neutral corner and don't come out till I signal. Protect yourself at all times. Shake hands, come out boxing at the bell.
And now, boxing fans, are you ready? Pensacola, Florida, are you ready? There's only one thing left to do. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
And we're set for action here, round one, scheduled for 12 for the IBF Super Middleweight Championship. As stunned as the crowd was here by the loss by Lewis, that's how stoked they are for their hometown favorite, Roy Jones Jr. He wears an almost aqua-colored trunks, as Tony Thornton is in the blue, the punching postman, and carrying a mail bag for the last 11 years. And right now, Roy Jones Jr. in the boxing game is carrying nothing but saddlebags full of cash. He's going to make about $2 million for this title defense. Won the championship from James Lights Out Tony. An extremely strong performance in that one by Jones against what was a lethargic Tony as he goes low with the left hand. Tony Thornton has only fought twice in the last couple of years. Last time out, January, he took a TKO in 2 rounds over Darren Zenner.
It should be obvious right away who the faster fighter is. The hand speed of Jones, light years ahead of that of Tony Thornton. And that will probably ultimately decide the fight.
Tony Thornton in the war now for the 45th time in this one. And you see Roy Jones Jr. almost toying with Thornton as he tattoos his face with a couple of lefts and a crisp right hand. But Thornton trying to get inside, hitting on the break now. Thornton will receive about $250,000 for this fight. And when you see a journeyman who's had a couple of heartbreaking losses in title fights, both for minor titles and world championships, a lot of people thought that he would emerge with a world title. When they go to the scorecard, sometimes it can be cruel. He picks up a big fat payday at the twilight of his career.
Surprisingly, Jones is content to allow Thornton to pin him into the ropes, work the body a little bit. It doesn't look like Jones really cares much about whether or not Thornton lands inside or not, although obviously he's going to do better at long range. Slippery little move there.
And a huge left hand lands as he comes forward against Tony Thornton. Woo! Thornton weathers the storm, however. Jones clearly toying with Thornton in the early stages of this fight. As we come inside the final minute of round one, and you get the feeling that Tony Thornton might wish he was carrying mail right now.
Well, one thing about Thornton, he has some durability. He's lost 6 times, but he's only been stopped once. That was in 1989.
Well, he's waded through rain, sleet, and snow, but never threw a barrage of punches like he's seen so far in round one. And Jones is just warming up.
Oh, for sure. Of course, he's never been in against anybody nearly as good as Roy Jones Jr.
A good head movement by Tony Thornton, keeping it from flying off, perhaps.
As Jones goes to a southpaw stance.
Come to the final seconds of round one. Tony Thornton in a survivor's mode here, early in this fight.
To hit it, right? Don't go over top too much. Okay. Make him throw. See what I meant about those wide hooks that he throws? Bang, 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 bang. One right behind the other, but they're wide. 2 out of every 3 is a slat. 1 may be hard. Okay. All right? Go ahead and pull. We're good to go.
Yes, he's happy that he has his friends around him, but when he gets out there, his eyes are focused.
Easy round to get it started for Roy Jones Jr. in the first. Jones trying to begin and let everything like a metronome come off of that jab. He's been jabbing more since working with Murchison, and that's been one of the things. Murchison says, I didn't do anything differently with Roy Jones than his father did. I just tried to polish some things up and add a few wrinkles to his game plan. Whatever he's done, it's been effective. as Jones has been virtually unbeatable and generally credited as pound for pound the best fighter in the world today.
Well, one of the things that they did do when Murkerson took over is they gave Jones some decent opponents. His father was putting him against stiffs, and as a result of that, he wasn't getting much in the way of experience or improvement.
Always bad when you see the guy come to the ring and he's fighting the main event. He's got a striped cane. But Roy Jones Jr. has upped the quality of his opponents, especially since 1994. Series of victories against Danny Garcia, Thomas Ice T. Tate, James Toney, the biggest of his career. Took on Antoine Bird here at the Civic Center, knocked him out in one, made short work of that to the delight of the fans, and then absolutely demolished Vinny Pazienza. Now, granted, Pazienza had struggled against Roberto Duran in 2 fights that went the distance, but it was no contest as it is developing so far here. Jones is flashing some moves, almost as if he was playing one-on-one against Tony Thornton out on the basketball court. Another sport that he loves. Steady barrage of left hands, now the right. Thornton struggling to get out of the way, pulls his way forward to get out of danger.
I think your Picasso reference was accurate. Thornton is in for either a long or a short night, but not a winning night.
And he has to really wonder. Thornton's been in there with a lot of good fighters, including James Toney himself, who he took the distance back in 1993 on October 29th. In kind of a listless effort by James Toney, lost the decision. He's been in with some good ones since, even Lindsey Morgan, a creditable opponent, but nothing the likes of a Roy Jones Jr.
No, Jones fights left-handed, he fights right-handed, he goes to the head, he goes to the body, he fights off the ropes. They're a big combination in the middle of the ring. This is really a mismatch.
Target practice so far for Roy Jones Jr., landing at will against Tony Thornton, the opponent for his IBF title. You have to wonder if Jones will eventually become complacent or bored with this division. He talks about moving all the way up to the heavyweight ranks. That seems unlikely, but certainly he looks like a man who's capable of even moving up to 175.
Well, of course, he would like to fight Nigel Benn, who's the WBC super middleweight champion, but of course Ben is controlled by King, and Murkerson and Jones have made it very clear they're not going to do business with King.
Final 10 seconds of round number 2, and another slaughter in the books in this one for Roy Jones Jr. Down goes Thornton at the bell. That was inside the time. The bell cannot save Tony Thornton. He's up, gets to a count of 7 from Brian Gary, and that'll end the round. But Roy Jones Jr. puts an exclamation point on the second round. The left hand flush on the jaw of Tony Thornton, who got up. He could not be saved by the bell. You see the blood inside his mouth. In the corner of Tony Thornton now goes quickly to work. Gonna get a look at the knockdown, Ed.
Certainly Jones with a flair for the dramatic as he finishes off round 2 with a major knockdown of Tony Thornton. Here it is, a big left hook. And that sent Thornton reeling with his head just underneath the lower strand of the ropes.
Watch the feint with the left hand. Thornton lowers his right and leaves himself wide open, vulnerable to that left hand. And as Jones came forward, it hit him full force.
It shows you how much better Jones is than just about anybody else in the super middleweight division. As you pointed out, Jeff, Thornton has been in against some pretty decent fighters, but he's accounted himself well, but nothing like this.
It's artistry so far for Roy Jones Jr., and maybe a question of pride developing for Tony Thornton to see how much he wants to take, how far he wants to go. Brian Gary warning Jones about a low blow, and Jones
comes back with a lead right.
Aghast. He should be questioned. 2 huge hooks to the body, and another one flush on the jaw.
He's yelling at Thornton.
Thornton against the ropes, in all kinds of trouble here. Jones, electrifying hand speed as he puts the finishing touches on, perhaps here in round 3. Thornton with no defense. Gary looking at him very closely. He's covering up. He has that Ken Norton cross-arm style, and Gary's going to wave it off. He says it's no contest. A 3rd round stoppage here for Roy Jones Jr.
Well, Jones is just much too good for the likes of Tony Thornton and the ilk of fighters that Thornton's been competitive with. Jones put on a show for the world to see, as why many consider him to be the best fighter pound for pound. And the crowd here in Pensacola, of course, ecstatic about their hero extending his undefeated string to 30 straight, now with 26 knockouts. But they could have stopped this in the first round. There was no contest from the very, very beginning.
They possibly could have stopped it at the weigh-in. Tony Thornton is game as they come at the twilight of his career, and he has been relatively inactive the last couple of years. As we mentioned, he's been having trouble with his bones in his elbow, and he can't extend his left arm fully. All he did tonight was extend a congratulatory hand to Roy Jones Jr. Vastly superior in this fight, both in belief coming in and in the end game, as he destroyed Tony Thornton and put on an ecstatic show here for the fans.
At the end of the fight, when the fight was stopped, there was no complaints by anybody in Thornton's corner. In fact, his seconds greeted him and said, hey, you know, that was the thing to happen. It was just much too much speed, power, ring generalship, just a much greater fighter in against, frankly, a good but fairly ordinary, good super middleweight.
And Jones made the ultimate statement right at the tail end, the final second, maybe even inside of the fraction of a second in round 2, as he sent Thornton to the canvas for the only time. He jumped on top of him, was on him like Velcro in the corner here right above us, and he loves to go on with that display, almost windmill-like whipping of the hands. And Brian Gary said he's seen enough. Here's the official time with Michael Buffer.
Referee Brian Gary calls a halt to the bout. The official time, 2 minutes. Pardon me, 45 seconds. That's 45 seconds of round number 3. The winner, victory number 30. He is still the undefeated super middleweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Jeff, if you were paying attention, you might have got a look at Leroy Neiman, the artist in the ring with Roy Jones. In fact, that's Leroy Neiman you just saw on the right of Jones on the monitor. Neiman is in town for several things, including a reception tomorrow where a Leroy Neiman portrait will be unveiled, and it will be part of a Royal Evening Black Tie Extravaganza here in Pensacola at the Museum of Art, with proceeds going to Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northwest Florida and the Gerald McClellan Benefit Fund.
His own parade right now. Congratulations, Roy. For someone who wants to fight before his hometown fans, you don't seem to want to fight very long here. This is in 2 fights, you've gone about 3 total rounds. Give us your sum up of the fight.
Well, first of all, I thank God for giving me the opportunity to do things I did and to do things that I am able to do for keeping me healthy, having my hands stay healthy, and doing a terrific job. Pensacola is a wonderful place. I love everybody to come out and support me. They pump me up so much that it makes me want to go ahead and turn some stuff loose. I ain't got no patience to be waiting, you know. I just want to go ahead out there and do what I got to do, so, you know.
So you're saying that the crowd turned you on, and nobody seems disappointed, however, by a short fight.
Well, yeah, they turn me on a lot, and if a guy makes a mistake, ding dong, ring on the doorbell.
What was the mistake then?
Actually, I set him up with a jab, head, jab, body. I kept jabbing up, jab down, jab up, jab down. I noticed in the Tony fight that when you throw 1 or 2 punches at him and get him used to him, he won't react to it, no movement after that. So I set him up and made him get lackadaisical after the jab down. I jabbed up and fake jab down and came with a hook instead. Surprise.
It seemed about, 20 or 25 seconds before the end, you saw something that you stunned him or that he was hurt in some way, and then you jumped on him. Is that true?
Yeah, see, I'm like one of them roosters. I got there, what's up in the black hat form? Everybody in the chicken business. I get out there, I see a guy, I get the eye on him, I see I got him hurt, got to get him. Be careful, Ben, I get you like that, but you all right with me.
You told us about your roosters and what you've learned about prize fighting from watching your roosters. Repeat that.
Yeah, well, roosters, a good rooster is a rooster that fights like myself or like Salvador Sanchez. A good rooster stays on top of the other rooster, won't let them think, just keeps them frustrated the whole night. And that's what my goal is, to go out there, keep my opponent off balance, keep him shook up, and I get him.
All right.
And one more thing, for Don King, it don't take 25 minutes for me and Nigel being in a fight. All it takes is guarantee me 10. Let me know I'm going to get my money up front with none of the other stuff. We can do it. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Nigel's a great fighter. He's a great warrior. That's why I want to fight.
All right. Roy, Roy, only the great ones can promote their next fight while they're still in the last one.
You're looking at a great one then. You're looking at a real good one.
All right, there are fighters out there. There are fighters out there like Ben, like Stevie Collins, like Frankie Lyles. They can make the most money for fighting you, but they don't seem that interested. So what do you do?
Well, what I do is keep milking my way around, taking whatever come up next. I got Brian Brandon next, I think. Be careful, son. Punch kind of sharp. And I ain't sure who after that, but whatever comes up in line is what I take. And I don't mind. I'm in boxing to have fun. Nike got my back, you know. Hey, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying myself. God is good to me. I like to see the world come together in unity. I like to see people come out and support me. My sparring partners, Jason Papillon, Keith Mullen were great. Everything was terrific.
Thank you, Roy.